Hello, you guys. Welcome to Helsinki, Finland. Before we get into today's topic, I just have to really quickly say I think the Finnish people might be the nicest Europeans by far. At least, I don't know if you guys have ever heard anybody say, oh, Europeans are so nice. Probably not. But if you have ever heard that, more than likely they're talking about people from the Mediterranean area, what in Europe we call as like Südländer, so like Italians, Greeks, Spanish, Portuguese. Uh, I think Northern Scandinavian, Central Europe, Eastern Europeans, we all have a reputation of not being that friendly. Uh, I, as a German myself, have to admit that we are not the warmest and most inviting people in general, and that has been my experience traveling throughout Europe as well. So I have to say, right off the top, I am. I was not expecting. I just assumed that the Finnish people would be a little bit cold and distant, like all of the other European counterparts. I have to say, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised at how incredibly friendly everybody's been. So I thought I would just put that out there. So today's video, I think the title's already going to be a little bit weird for a lot of you guys. Basically, what happened is I met a Finnish guy, or I started talking to a Finnish guy since I've been here, and I would I've even kind of like nicknamed him the Viking. I think he actually looks like a Viking. Like he's really tall and buff and super blonde and all this kind of stuff. Not the type of guy I would normally ever go for. Also, not the type of guy that I generally think would go for me. I'm actually always really surprised when like very buff, tall guys go for me. Even though I would say personality wise, I'm probably not the butchest, most masculine man out there in the world. I think just by appearance, like I'm relatively tall. I have now in my old age kind of gotten more of a, I don't know, manly figure. Have very dark features. I'm very hairy, so I think I'm not. I don't feel like I'm generally really somebody who draws that type of guy to me. But anyway, he's really really nice, and I've kind of in my head been thinking, um, because he asked me out, and I've kind of been going back and forth. And there's actually, for those of you guys who don't follow my channel, you're probably like, okay, where's the story? There's no story there. If you think he's nice, go out with him. And I kind of wanted to read you guys something that I wrote in my diary yesterday, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. So I don't know if you guys know, but I keep travel diaries that I've kind of gone back and forth about. Maybe I want to publish them, and when I'm done traveling. Anyway, so this is what I wrote. Do I like white guys? Since 2018, I keep questioning more and more of my previous beliefs and motivations. At one point in time, I thought I bought and internalized everything the left told me, hook, line, and sinker. But with the emerging insanity of the left, I've come to question almost everything I once believed. So too, how for years I've told myself that I wasn't attracted to white guys. To be fair, blonde hair and blue eyes still don't turn my head. But this overall attitude I have, is it even true? Or was it just part of internalized white guilt? I've been told to feel. Somehow I think it is. I allowed the left to tell me that being white is bad and shameful, and so I came to reject other white people. I even used to make videos on YouTube about how white people suck and are the worst. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this is, like I said, I think anybody who's been around for a while, they know that especially around 2018, I made a really big shift in terms of my political and social beliefs. I've definitely gotten more red pilled about a lot of things. I think there's a lot of things that I used to just accept as unconditional truths when it comes to the left. That once I started questioning things, there's so much in German. We have a saying like "wie Schuppen von den Augen," like it just like my eyes just open and I couldn't unsee the things I've seen. And there's just so many things about the left that I felt is just so illogical and so predicated on not questioning, not questioning the logic, not questioning the morale, not questioning um, how to actually make any of these things work. It's just kind of like you're just kind of expected to juggle all of these ideologies and ideas in your head that are not congruent in any way, shape, or form. And I think I've kind of started really taking apart a lot of the brainwashing I think I received from the left in terms of like ideologies and things that now I look back on, I was like, I can't believe at one point in time I just accepted these things. But one of the things that I think that yeah, I was at one point in time one of those liberals who did think that I was smarter than the other people and I was so much more in tuned and I just had way better insights and you know in a condescending manner a way of being around people just kind of being like well you know if you had any idea about systemic racism and the vampant heteronormative forces that are being pushed onto gay people and blah blah, then you would understand why we have to do all these things to dismantle the patriarchy. And I think I really internalized a lot of these things. And one of the things that I internalized, I feel now that I look back, is like I said, I had this sense of I had to tear down my own race. I had to tear down white people as the only alternative to lift up black people and Asian people and Hispanic people, and only by constantly telling people how horrible white people are and how shitty we are and all the things that we did wrong and how gross and stupid and white people don't know anything. And I think this is something when you look at white liberals or progressives or leftists or whatever you want to call them, this is still a narrative you see a lot. The whole them bowing down to black people and being like, oh my god, we're so sorry for slavery, and and apologizing all the time and being like, oh, white people shouldn't, if you really want to be a supporter of gay people and black people and stuff, then you will not speak in meetings, and you won't have opinions on a plethora of topics because we're so evil and we're such horrible people. And I think one of those ways that I internalize this is by telling myself that clearly I couldn't like other white men to date because they're so evil and they're so bad and they're such horrible people. Like, I couldn't possibly date a white person. I have to like date a minority because I'm one of the good whites. And I really internalized this for a very long time, and I think it's still something that's really ingrained. And honestly, like I have to say, in my adulthood, I've never dated a white guy. Never. I mean, I've dated what in America are considered white guys. In Europe, we don't consider them as white because we have a little bit of a different definition of what is white. So yeah, I've dated like Italians and Greeks. One of my best relationships was with a Greek guy. Turkish people, Spanish. I think in the U.S. those are all white people, or white part of the white race, or whatever you want to call it. Sorry, that was probably not politically correct. But here in Europe, we don't think of them as white. And so yeah, I've just always, I literally just made it this thing. Like, I just told myself, like, I'm not gonna date a white person. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not attracted to them. I don't like them. And I just internalized it to the point where I just even stopped questioning it. I just kind of was like, no, I'm just like, no, I don't even look at white people or whatever. And of course, all of that is complete crap. It's all complete crap. The more and I think it's one of those last pillars of this white guilt that I've been told I should have and carry with me from the left, and that I'm still working on dismantling. And especially somebody who does come on YouTube all the time and talk about how I'm lonely and I wish I had somebody, and then it's kind of like, okay, then I'm cutting out an entire population of people based off of a certain feeling of self-hatred Wait a minute, please. Sorry. Housekeeping just came in, even though I asked them to wait. Yeah. So I think this is something I need to also dismantle now within myself. And yeah, I'm and like the first way I'm gonna do this is I've decided that I'm gonna go out with this Finnish guy and I'm just gonna, like hang out, see what it's like. But yeah, it's something that I think is really, I think it's something that's really scary to some degree on how deep rooted these really damaging leftist ideologies can ingrain themselves within you, and you just start carrying them around as like truths, personal truths. You know how the left, they love to say my truth, as if there's such a thing as your own personal truth. You don't get your own personal truth. There is the truth, and that is it. So I think I definitely have a lot more work to do within myself to dismantle some of my own personal bigotry that I've now taken on. That is honestly just nonsensical. I just completely have to really dismantle the entirety of almost the entirety, not everything. Like at the end of the day, like I said, I think I'll always be a classical liberal. You can do whatever you want, call yourself whatever you want, dress however you want, as long as you're doing it in a way that's not hurting anybody else, then I don't care. And that's something I think I'm gonna always carry with me. But overall, this like belief that being white is somehow bad or a negative, or that automatically makes you an oppressor or something, or that being cis, God, I hate that term, that cis somehow makes you an oppressor or a bad person, or being straight or being male, like all this is just complete garbage that I want to just extract out of myself. I don't want this in me anymore. I don't want this to be a part of me anymore. And it's just another thing where I think the left has really lied and cheated. And it's really sad to see that actually some of the strongest supporters of the left and of all these crazy ideologies are actually middle class, heterosexual, well, probably mostly white women, but also white men, and like me, because I think they've from such a young age, they've been thrust this idea that, you're guilty, you're bad, you're a horrible thing, and then this is constantly the barrage, is that an English word? Like you're berated by leftist media all the time. Oh my God, you're straight, you're bad, you're white, you're terrible, you're you're a man, you're the scum of the earth. And it's really hard to not at some point in time internalize it. And I don't think that all people show it the way that I do, or it internalizes itself the way it did with me. But it definitely does. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see all these like heterosexual middle class white people going out now wanting to be queer, or wanting to are going on the like bowing down to black people. And I actually think whoever is doing this behind the scenes when it comes to the left or the Democrat or whatever party you want to call it, however you want to refer to them, they really were smart in how they did it, that we all internalize it so much. Because I think these kind of things are some of the hardest things to become aware of, that you're brainwashed about, and to extradite out of your own system once they've ingrained themselves into who you think you are and what is the truth about life. So yeah. And question for you guys, is there anything where you one day woke up and you're like, wow, I really have internalized something that is just not true, especially because most of my viewers, I think, are gay men. Is there anything where you feel like the left, for a long time, lied to you and you internalized it and believed it to be the truth till one day you woke up and you were like, this is crap. Like, it's just complete crap, right? And how did that affect your life or anything? So leave it in the comments, and hopefully you guys are doing well. Take care, and bye from Helsinki.